Hello, everybody. Welcome to our webinar on generating savings by digitizing utility invoices. As communicated and planned, at 2:30 now, we will start our webinar. It will be me, Oğuz Kıranlar from Energy side. I'm an energy engineer doing product management for Energy's Cloud. And there will be also Federico from Busy. Hi, Federico.
Hi, hello to everybody.
In the first 1 minute, what I would like to do is to check with you if all audio infrastructure is on place. You will see a raise hand button in your screens. Which will allow me to understand that the audio is working well and all good to start. Yes, if you click that, I already see some hands are rising. So this is good sign. And I will wait only maybe 20-30 seconds to see all the attendees are in place. And once all the hands are up, then I know that I'm good to go to start the webinar. Okay. I see new people are coming in. So before I start one last time, I repeat that if there is no audio problem and all is good, you can hear me well. Please raise your hands and keep it there so that I know that it is working. And okay. So I think it's time to start. So let's start first of all describing what we will be talking about. In the introduction part, quickly in 5 minutes, we will cover what is Energys, our company from my side, and Energy's Cloud, our product. And then there will be the Busy from Federico's side and the technological partnership that we made to give you this product that we will be talking about and the solution. And after that, Federico will take the lead to describe the utility invoice digitization as a principle, the market needs, the solution itself, what advantages and opportunities it brings. And then he will show us a case study on what type of savings can be achieved via this method. And then I will come back again to your screen with the demonstration of the platform and how it is used and what you should expect as a user to see from this solution. And each part, the presentation and the demonstration itself will be 15 minutes. And on top of that, we will have time for another 10 minutes or 15 for the questions that you ask. We will try to answer them. During our presentation and demonstration, once you have questions, please feel free to write them in the questions section in your screen, and they will come to our screen. And after the demonstration session is over, we will be answering them again here. Okay, so let's first quickly talk about Energys. Energys is actually a company coming from a spin-off company from FreeMind, an IT consultancy company that started to develop Energys as a product, an energy monitoring product at first, which then turned into its second version by including new algorithms and artificial intelligence, and then further product improvements. In the end, in 2017, brought it to a point where a spin-off from FreeMind could bring, and the innovative activities of this energy management platform could now take place under the name of Energys. And we are located in Belgium, in Brussels. Our main activity areas are Western Europe, generally France, Italy, Belgium, of course, Netherlands, Spain, UK, and we target also for Germany and Portugal in near future. And on the right side of the screen, you can already see our the founders of Energies. Okay. And if we can answer the question, what is Energies Cloud? Energies Cloud is an energy management platform which is based on collection of data, analysis of this data to give energy management activities for the use of energy service companies or engineering companies or energy managers. So from invoice to bidirectional communication, all different ways of data can be collected here to be analyzed. And of course, the goal is energy management, hence reducing energy consumption, being environmentally responsible, and of course, to improve comfort. So to understand how it works quickly, I will mention the business value that Energies Cloud can bring to an energy service company or an engineering company, and how does it happen? Of course, when you look at the field of energy, the first thing you see is the invoice. So it's a very crucial part, in fact, for energy management, and today it will be our focus. So the invoice analysis can be accompanied with automatic data collection. So really monitoring from the sites, from the field to put in the views, dashboards to find inefficiencies, etc. And one level above that, as you can see here, is advanced analysis of the data that you collect, meaning IPMVP modeling and forecasting or performance monitoring, so deviations from the expected values and such by machine learning algorithms that we implement. And further on top of that, there is the automatic control. So really sending real-time remote control to the assets in the industrial or tertiary building assets that produce or consume energy. And today we are focusing on the invoice verifier part, which is really what we can extract from invoice, how we can make things easy around data related to invoices. And this will be explained by Federico, so I let him continue from here, what digitization is about, and after that I will come back with a demo session.
Okay, perfect. Okay, August, give me the possibility to share my screen.
Yes, it is coming.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we can start from the last slide of August. Thank you, August, for your presentation about energies. I'm Federico Stradi. I'm a technical sales manager of Busy. Just a few words also about our company. We are an Italian ICT companies founded in the 2012 by me, Francesco Grandi, and Matteo Berselli. And we started in the 2012 as a software factory. Then after 3 years, we intercepted needs on utilities invoice analysis on the market. And we started to work on a utility bill management system called Energy Data Validation. After 3 years of work, we went to the market with the first commercial version. And now, after 2 years of production, we are managing about 20,000 meters on this platform. And during last summer, we went in Europe market with the platform thanks to the partnership with Energy Cloud. So energy data validation is today our core product. As I said before, this is a cloud platform that provides all functionalities for utility bill management system, starting from digitization of utility invoices in PDF format to invoice verification for contract conditions and regulation of the national regulator, reporting, analysis, KPI and budgeting, and at the end, an REST API to integrate the platform with other software solution, external software solution. Just a few words about the technical partnership with Energies. We signed this agreement in July 2018, last summer, with a common objective that is to bring on the market a very unique and innovative platform to combine together functionalities from energy management system from one side and utility bill management system from the other, with a strong integration between the two modules. This is not only a technical partnership, but also a commercial partnership because it permits us to enlarge our commercial offer and to extend the reference market to the European territory. Okay, so we can start with the topic content of the webinar, that is the utility invoice digitization, and I want to start with a brief analysis of the market or of the market needs at two levels. The first level is at the final customers, and the second level is the energy expert. Okay, starting from the final customers, we have multi-site companies like public administration, food retailers, banks that have several needs on the utilities invoice analysis. They want to know which are the costs, the consumption for each building, for each sites. They want to keep energy expenditure under control. They want to understand if the utility invoices that they are paying are corrected or contains errors, in order to generate saving also from this part, from this activity. And they want to automate the process to store these invoices in the accounting software of the company. From the other side, we have industries that usually have few sites, but very big consumption. And their main needs is to understand how energy costs have impact on the cost of the production of the company. On the other level, we have energy experts. Energy experts for us are operators that provide energy services to the final customer that we saw before. For example, ISCO, energy consultants, energy purchase consortium, trade associations. They have two main needs. The first is to reduce time and cost to analyze utility invoices that they have to perform daily in order to provide energy services to their customers. And the second need is to increment the loyalty to the final customers in order to provide these services in a new way, in a new, very innovative way. Okay. So we can stop a little bit for a brief poll session. So I want to ask you some information. First of all, I want to ask which are the categories of site on which you need to perform invoice analysis. Okay. So I ask you to select one of these sector, and then we can comment the result.
Okay, I see that many people already voted, so we can see the results together.
Okay.
So, yes.
Okay, perfect. So we are principal public administration, food retail. Good. I want to ask you another question. That is, which of the following statement describe your need the most? Okay.
Okay, I think we already got the answers. So
Okay.
let's see the results.
Perfect. Very interesting results, because in the next slide, I will show you how you can perform this activity with a very big cost reduction. Okay, perfect. So we can go on. Perfect. So all these needs that I have presented to you have a common element: utility invoices. We have to analyze utility invoices, but we have a big problem under this activity, because we receive these invoices in paper or PDF format. So it has a very big cost, as you said before in the last poll. So which is the actual scenario? How final customer and energy expert now are approaching their needs? They can't extract manually data from PDF format, also from paper format, so they have to ask to supplier for a structured format like CSV, XLS file, and so on. They have to implement very complex Excel files in order to ingest this kind of files, this kind of data, and some functionalities in order to generate monthly report and send the report to the customers or to the internal manager. Okay. But this actual scenario has some problems, because it is time consuming and consequently cost consuming. You said me before, because it is a very implement this solution required times also in the maintenance and interface with the supplier in order to obtain this type of data in Excel files or CSV. It is quite difficult and required times. Requires high skill, because to implement also a complex Excel file, to ingest the files, make the analysis and the data management, require person that have these skills. File Excels are not a good tools to work in teams, and it is very difficult to share between resources inside a company. If I move these Excel files to another resources, I have to keep in mind several problems. And it is not scalable, because it requires many manual operations. So when I have to analyze a very big number of meters or invoices, I have problems. So which is the solution? The solution is use digitization. That is the core and the topic of this webinar. What do we mean for digitization? Digitization is the possibility to convert in an automatic way an unstructured format like PDF in a structured format like XML or CSV. So our digitization engine of energy data validation platform permit to ingest the PDF files in the original format that the supplier provide us or to our customers, as a sort of rules in order to extract all the data from these files, the PDF that can be electronic or raster, that are scans principally, and produce an output in a digitized format, so XML, CSV, that I can use for other purposes or to integrate in other software. Okay. Which information are able to extract from the invoices? All the information that the supplier indicate in the file. So the information of either supplier, customer, meter details, all the readings, so the period of consumption, the type of consumption is if you are speaking of estimated consumption, actual consumption, recalculation, the total consumption, the consumption in each time ranges, and so on. And all the invoice rows that are very important for the analysis. Okay. So another poll session for you. So I ask you, how do you manage invoice analysis today? In order to understand if you use an Excel files like the actual scenario that I presented to you, custom software, if you already use commercial solution and so on.
Okay, we already collected our answers, more or less, and let's see them now.
Okay, perfect. We are in line with our presentation, so very, very good, perfect. And another question, how many energy meters do you perform invoice analysis now? We have foreseen several levels in order to understand which is the total amount of meters that you manage.
Okay, again, the majority votes are collected, so let's see where do we stand.
Okay, perfect.
Yes.
Very good. So we have also some attendees that works on very big number of meters. And the last poll, do you use any energy management systems today? Very simple, yes or no.
Okay, again, we collected many of the votes.
Okay, perfect, very good.
Yeah.
So with the practical session of August, you can see how to use, to integrate the energy management system in these functionalities. Perfect, very good. We can go on, okay? So I have presented to you what is the digitization. So which are the advantages to use digitization? I think it is quite simple to understand. Cost and time saving, because we have a software that help us and to do complex activity. So I have only to upload PDF files of the invoices on the platform. We don't need we don't need high skills, because we have a software that do the complex activity for us. So we use a web cloud platform that is easy to share between resources inside the company. We can use in team because each actor has its own account, so it is very, very simple to use. And it is high scalable because the digitization process is completely automatic. So permit the user to reach a high level of scalability and make energy analysis on a very big set of data. Which are the opportunities that the digitization can open for us? With digitization, we can have a higher availability of data about cost and consumption. So we can do cost and consumption management. We can develop algorithm in order to discovering anomalies about this data. We can store in an automatic way the utility invoices in the accounting system of the company. We can do automatic verification of the invoices in order to check if there is some error in the contract condition application or in the regulation of the national regulators. And last but not least, the integration with EMS to generate saving. That is the topic of the webinar. And after my presentation, August will show you a practical demo about this aspect. Okay. Now I wanted to show you a real use case of our customers. That is Banca Nazionale del Lavoro, an Italian bank that is partner of the French group BNP Paribas. And we are speaking of a bank of 2,000 meters, 2,000 energy meters between electricity, gas, and water, 20,000 invoices per year. And when we met them for the first time, their needs were the following. They were looking for a single platform to manage all energy vector of the company, in particular, mainly electricity, gas, and water. They received and receive also today in the main headquarters in the energy management department, thousands of utility invoices in PDF format, and in particular, the water invoices are scans. So very, very difficult to extract data. And they want an application, a software to make cost and consumption management, automatic reporting, discovery anomalies about consumption. And the last needs is the necessity to the need to automate the payment approval process, because when the energy management receive an invoices, it has 1 or 2 days at maximum to communicate to the administration department the approval for the payment, and it is a very strict period, strict period, and they need a software to automate this process in order to respect this due. So which are the functionalities that we provide them with our technology? We provide them a unique platform to manage all the data about all energy vectors and make cost and consumption management, data clustering at different levels, meter site group, or globally. A platform to make comparison between different periods of consumption and cost, and compare the costs and the consumption with a forecast budget. It is very, very important also for the purchase department and the financial department. We provide them our digitization engine in order to digitize thousands of PDF files, also scan, as I said before, about the water invoices. So the only operation that they have to do is to upload these invoices on the platform, and then the digitization engine do the work for them. With our digitization engines, they are able also to digitize invoices that contains different meters. That is quite common in very big multi-site companies like banks, but also retailers and public administration. And with the digitization engine, they are able to extract all the information about every single invoices. Like I said before, the readings, the invoice rows, the information about meters, in order to make a cross-checking with the information of their registries, with the information contained inside of every single invoices. They have we provide them functionalities to build a trend about cost and consumption on each meters, discover anomalies about cost and consumption, generate automatic report about aggregated data, and about every single meters. And regarding the payment approval, we implement a 3-stage process to approve the payment of every single invoices. So we started from with the invoice digitization in order to extract and digitize the invoices. Then the invoices obtain a technical approval by the energy management department, where they check if the consumption is in line with the budget, is in line with the baseline that they have for each meters. Then the purchase department makes the economical approval in order to check if the cost of the invoice is in line with the economical budget. And then the invoice is exported automatically to the accounting software of the banks in order to register all the information and saving time also for the administrative department. Which are the results that they obtain using this technology? First of all, a very high availability of energy data on every company asset, on every company meters. The possibility, consequently, increase the detail level for energy analysis, They have made a strong time optimization, and they had the possibility to allocate the free time to other activities with a better added value than extract data manually from PDF files. And they have optimized also the interaction between internal departments, and in particular, as I showed you before, energy management, purchase department, and administration department. Okay, perfect. So I have finished with my part. I give the control to August for the practical demonstration.
Okay, now I have the presentation role, so I will show a demonstration session from the platform to see really how it works, in fact. So let's open here already. Okay. So, as we discussed, this is Energies Cloud with invoice analysis package in it, where we can digitize and use all what we have discussed in the context of energy management. And when you're a user of this platform, what you need to do is to log in. In our case, I'm logging in as a demo account and arriving to the platform. And Energies Cloud is divided into different packages, which is like invoice, standard, advanced, and control and optimization. Invoice analysis is all what we are talking about today, how we can make better use of data from the invoices by digitization. And then it could be also combined with standard analysis, meaning automatic data collection and making use of monitoring. Now we have the data in our hands. We can make advanced analysis on top of that. This comes to creating models for forecasting consumption or making smart alerts and so on. And in the end, we can also make a control and optimization where we can really control the assets from one platform. So now, as for the invoice digitization, as a user, what do I need to do? I come and I say I want to invoice and upload. I want to upload an invoice. And what I need to do is to tell for which asset that I have. Let's say it's an invoice analysis Flanders customer that I have. And I have to also say which supplier. In this case, Luminous is an electricity supplier here in Belgium. So I need to tell to the software that I will put an invoice to this supplier, so that the software understands that he needs to extract the data from that type of invoice template. Okay, and then I select my documents, say invoice, electricity invoice, and I pick it. I say upload, and it goes. Once it is uploaded and digitized, I find back my invoices in a list in my platform here. So in this case, for instance, I have already uploaded many invoices from different suppliers and different customer groups. In my case, I divided them by their country, imagining that I am an energy service company that has functions in many, many different countries in Europe, all our markets in this case. And then the one that I was uploaded was a Luminous supplier. So I want to filter them by their supplier. I search, and I find back the invoice that I uploaded here as digitized and turned into the numbers on the software screen. So what does this mean for us? I think the best way to understand it is to see how an invoice looks like and how it will appear when I digitize it. So I already took a screenshot of how it would look. As you know, the invoices are defined by many, many sub-components under them that tells the unit price, how much consumption was for that period, and the taxes on it. And then finally, your utility cost, the total, and such. So this is our source of information, right? So with this, let's see how it looks like when we digitize it in our platform. All those lines now turned into some rows in my list where I can see and the distribution of the energy cost, transport cost, the taxes and such as well in it. The extra value that we can have already in this point is the invoice verification. In the software, what we can do is, as you know, all suppliers are subject to some sort of regulations for the cost components of their utility. So to transport electricity, there are these units, and they are depending on this according to this country and that country or this region. Or for the energy price in your contract, this is your euro per kilowatt hour or megawatt hour price and such. And these sometimes are not done correctly, so some errors occur. So your unit price is different from what your contract says or what the regulation says. And we have a built-in follow-up knowledge to check if the invoices are issued correctly. And here in this example, for instance, the unit price we see in the invoice is this for this component, and the actual unit price that we know by checking publicly open information is this. So there is a mismatch here and a warning for you with a delta, how much it is deviating from its actual price. This is invoice verification, which will be subject of another webinar that we will soon communicate, and we will also give some statistics that we collected about how many errors are happening, how much cost it brings to organizations. So we will be communicating about that in near future. But now I'm coming back to the cost and consumption analysis that you can make with this data, imagining that all the data is correct, they are in place, and now we want to see some analysis. As an energy manager, let's say I have a very large portfolio of assets. On the list here, you can see all the assets that I have. And now I want to see particularly a restaurant that I have that I do invoice analysis of, for instance. It has a electricity meter that the invoices are arriving. And for this restaurant now, I've generated a report to tell what exactly the invoices of this restaurant is telling us. So what you can do is quickly give an information for reporting reasons or where exactly it is located, especially when you have a large portfolio. Having a map is quite handy. And then now what I can see is, for instance, that is arriving from the papers or PDFs. What is my consumption from the invoice and how much it costed me, maybe with a VAT included I could see, or what was my budget and how much I spent. Or, you know, some suppliers are giving estimated values upfront, and then the actual, with the consumption data arriving, they tell you how much your actual invoice is, or actual consumption is. You could see these two, for instance, together. Also, if you have different tariffs for the day, night, or it can be even more, we could see them like the distribution of it to see further the consumption. Or let's say the cost breakdown. So how much of my electricity is or utility invoices because of the energy price, because of the taxes, because of the transport or distribution cost, and where do I stand according to my budget? This sort of reporting. Another handy option, especially with the ease of creating new KPIs, from the invoice, for instance, I have the total cost and total consumption. So I can have an average value here and put it to my view. And then there is built-in national average prices of electricity benchmarks that we have that you could, for instance, compare with if you are above and below, which is a very basic first step for energy efficiency. Or we could have a cost breakdown of the different components as well. further analysis will be, let's see it in another dashboard. For instance, I have the monitoring data together with my invoice through a data logger and IoT platform somehow from sensors or meter directly, or I upload it myself, but somehow any other monitored consumption could be compared with invoiced consumption. And in this case, for instance, I am much above my invoiced consumption in my monitoring. So there is something not good there. If there is something not good there, an alert directly could be generated. So in this one, for instance, an alert which was monitored consumption exceeded invoiced consumption, or budget exceeded. These sort of alerts can be generated to check if your monitored data is in line with your invoice data. Another aspect, you could generate KPIs, a site-specific KPI. What do I mean? In the EMS, you have the produced units for an industrial site, for instance, and you have from the invoices or even monitoring, you have the consumption. So you could directly generate, tell me my consumption of electricity per produced tons, and it would appear here. For instance, 3.10 euro per ton could be used. And another use case that you could have as a like reporting or analysis reasons would be multi-site management. Especially seeing that you have had over 500 meters, I see that an easy way of managing a large number of assets is very important. So, as an energy manager, maybe I have very different business lines, and let's see from scratch, and I want to somehow categorize all my assets to see the values about them. To begin with, like I will explain the concept of tagging, how we can do it. In Energies Cloud, we have the concept of tagging, where you can tell to all your meters or all your assets, depending on whichever category that you have, where they are, what is their address, what type of building they are, what is your internal asset code for them, and such. You can convert them into tags to call them to your dashboards. For instance, imagine that I'm an energy manager, I have many different activities, and one of them is invoice analysis. So I'm calling invoice analysis, meaning all the assets, the bank electricity meter, hospital electricity meter, restaurants and such, all the assets that I have that are under the tag of invoice analysis are appearing in my views right now. And in this case, just an example, I put the cost distribution of invoice, but it could be your budget for that, your invoice, your monitored consumption, or whichever measurement or metric that you have would appear. So you can have very easily tables like this, and you can easily add another let's say parameter to see here electricity availability, and then it will appear directly here. Or you can have the same way the profile views, and as well you can have distribution of your assets for benchmarking reasons. Let's say invoice analysis is all the assets that I have, but I want to see the ones in France. And then 3 of them are in France, and their distribution of cost has a profile like this. Or I want to see my luminous supplier that I was checking. And the one has the luminous supplier, which belongs to an hospital, appears and directly comes. It is here. Now I can save it, just this. And now I can use this as a PDF report to be sent out to the right people in the right time. So this is pretty much how the invoice analysis can be done with Energys Cloud Invoice Verifier. And the more data you feed in using these invoices, the more savings you can generate. The ones that we showed, such as benchmarking or seeing if you're exceeding or not your budget, are already a beginning, but the more data, the more interesting results you could receive. And from here, we are coming to the end of the demonstration session and the start of the questions and answers session, in fact. So I will give you maybe a minute if you have any questions to ask. What you need to do is just in the questions tab that you have, writing down the question, and it will come to our pages, and then we can see and answer your questions. I will just wait maybe for around 1 minute, more or less, for some questions to arise, and then we can start answering them. We will do this for another 10 minutes, and if there are further questions but our time is not enough, you can contact us and we will be happy to answer further questions. Okay, I'm just waiting for a minute.
We will send you also after the webinar the presentation that we show you before.
Okay. Okay, first question is quite country specific to Italy. It says, which is the impact of electronic invoicing for the Italian markets? Federico?
Yes, I can answer to this question. It has not impact because the XML files format of the electronic invoice, of the Italian electronic invoice, doesn't contain the information about consumptions, meter readings, and all the invoice rows. So it is the same. We have already the PDF files that we have to take in consideration in order to make a very detailed analysis of the invoices. And usually the supplier put in attachment in the XML files of the electronic invoice the PDF of the invoices. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Guys. Okay, I see some more questions are arriving.
Okay.
What would be the best KPI for this type of analysis? Maybe I could answer this one because I think it really depends on the needs and the sector that is addressed. For an industrial one with a large consumer, for instance, it will be more production-oriented. Data will be connected to the energy consumption. And for multi-sites, it will be, for instance, kilowatt hour per square meter. So to normalizing to the area that you have to see the underperforming sites in an easier way. In the first glimpse, these are two examples to be given. If you have anything to add, Federico?
No, I totally agree with you. These are also the KPI that we use on multi-site companies and in the industry sector.
Mm-hmm.
They're quite common.
Okay. Change over time. Okay. Another question that arrived, if the invoice change over time as usual, how do you solve the problem?
Okay, I answered the questions. We keep update the digitization rules for each suppliers in the digitization engine. And there is a sort of intelligence inside the digitization that recognize some changes in the layout and update automatically the rules. So, but it is completely transparent for the final user, for the user of the platform. So the user has only to upload the PDF files and receive the result of the digitization. This is an operation that we do internally with our back office department. And the platform has a sort of intelligence to keep update the changes and recognize the changes of the supplier layout.
Okay. I see another question here. How does the software perform with extremely high levels of data, approximately 10K meters per client, all with invoice data? Will the system appear slow? To this, I think from both sides, I could say currently, Energous Cloud is being used in a large number of ESCOs around Europe, and we have our SLAs to confirm the usability, also the performance of the software. So the SLA would be from a user point of view, the safe zone to say that we are performant enough for large numbers. And we are already dealing with around, in one site, for instance, 350,000 readings per day. So these levels are, this is for data points from a monitoring. And for the invoices part, Federico?
It's not a problem. We already managed around 20,000, 20K meters, and we are testing the platform on another customer that has 20,000 meters also itself. And it is not a problem for the digitization. We will have very huge PDF files to digitize, but the digitization engine has been designed in order to be scalable, so we can make several instances that works in parallel in order to manage a very big quantity of data. And in case of very big customers with a very large number of meters, if the customer use also structured data in XLS files, we are able to use also these files. Our platform works with PDF, but also with structured data, so it is not a problem. We can switch with the two format, structured and unstructured, without problems.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Another interesting questions. Is it possible for an integration with external systems for your products? It is yes, it is possible. We have a REST API that can perform integrating both for receiving data to the platform, but also integrating with, for instance, accounting systems or any other external systems that you will need your energy data in. Federico?
Yeah, perfect. Also, ADV has an API REST in order to integrate with external system. Mainly, the most common integration that we do for our customers is the integration with the accounting system in order to export the data about the utility invoices to the accounting systems. So it is possible that it is not a problem.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And another question comes about the price of the products. Well, it depends on the number of meters that you are connecting to digitize your invoices, and it goes down with the increasing number of meters. So the business model is more or less like this. But for further questions on top of that, after our session, of course, we are open to be contacted.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Many suppliers give only total transport or distribution cost. How do you analyze on the different components of the distribution cost in this case? Yeah.
No, please, August.
Okay. So the way the software works, it is true that, for instance, some suppliers don't tell you the details of the component, but in the end, there is a point that they have to aggregate the components. Total energy cost or total use of the grid cost. To that level, it remains. And what is the breakdown of that aggregated value is publicly open information. So some part goes for the renewable energy, or depending on the region, or some goes for the tax and so on. And what we do is we check if when we aggregate all these according to the consumption that you have, if we are finding the aggregated value that you see on the invoice or not. So we really go to the deepest level of the component for the verification purpose and see if there is a delta or a mismatch between the aggregated value and what we recalculated.
Okay.
Okay. There are still some questions that remained. But we came to sort of end of our webinar session. What we will do for these questions, we will get back to you as soon as possible directly with your answer to the questions that you have here. And with this, as promised, in 1 hour, we tried to tell you as much how savings can be generated via the invoice data that you already have through digitization. I really hope that it was helpful webinar for you and interesting. And thank you for your participation. We will send you the presentation with our contact information as well. Please feel free to contact us for further any questions that you might have. Okay. Thank you from my side.
Thank you, August. Thank you to everyone, to everybody.
Okay. Have a good day, everybody.
Have a good day. Have a good job. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Thank you.